Well, I guess the unknown was known pretty quickly, and were you surprised at how much success you guys had in that opener?
No, I think we've had a really good offseason, offensively and defensively. I think you can tell when you have really good players. We knew our defensive line was going to be a heck of a unit this year. We knew our offensive line, especially if we can stay healthy, was going to be really good. Jalen had a great camp. We've seen a lot of these interesting plays and creative things from the coaching staff all offseason, and we were really excited to get out there and run them. I mean, there's always a little bit of you whenever you're doing something for the first time where you're kind of waiting to see how it goes, but I wasn't surprised at all. And now it's just sustaining it and continuing that moving forward.
Now that we can talk about the offense, what does it remind you of? Does it have elements of Chip's offense in there? From what you've ran, what does it remind you of?
Yeah, I mean, we do some tempo things the way Chip did. I think it's a little bit obviously more complex just because of we're in and out of no huddle. We're not always no huddle, so we do a lot more. We can do a lot of different things, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's similarities. There was even similarities with Chip's offense with Doug's offense. I think a lot of things that Chip did well, people took, and you see that across the league now with the RPOs and the use of tempo. And obviously, Nick spent some time with Frank, and Frank played for the Buffalo Bills, or like the originators of like the no huddle offense when he was a player. So, there's elements of tempo, huddle, get on the ball. I think it's all different tools in the box that we can use as an offense to keep the defense off guard. And we did it. It was executed really, really well, especially on the coaches' end in the first game.
Simple numbers game. I mean, if you got 3v2 on the outside, if you got a certain number in the box,
yeah,
that makes it a lot simpler for Jalen if you're moving fast too.
Yeah, I mean, it ends up being numbers. No matter how you string, the difference is when you go tempo, it presents. Defense has to get lined up. They have to get set. So, it can simplify things. There's defenses now are going to be adjusting. We're going to have to see how teams defend it moving forward. This is the first time that we went out there and did it on game day. So, teams are going to adjust. They're going to have game plans, and this is where it really starts to get fun. How do we adapt, and how do we still execute?
On Isaac Seumalo, I don't want to call him overlooked, but you're so accomplished. And yeah. Brandon and Lane, Jordan got the big contract. How much improvement have you seen from him over the years to where he is now?
I think Isaac's been a standout stud for us for some time. I don't think it's this isn't like it's new this week. Isaac's been a hell of a player for us for a long time. I still remember when he was a rookie, we were asking him, and even a little bit into his second year, we were asking him to play tackle, guard, and center, in tight end in some jumbo packages. So he's an incredibly smart player. He's very athletic. He's physical. He has all the traits that you need as an offensive lineman, and he certainly hasn't been overlooked in our room. We all have known how good Isaac is for a very long time, and it's only a matter of time before the national media catches on.
Jason, with the screen game, it seems like it's going to be a big part of this offense. The guys up front, how much do you enjoy those opportunities to get to the next level and block?
Yeah, I mean, get to the next level. Screens can be really explosive plays. They can also slow down a pass rush. I mean, they did a lot of screens in Indy, and it seems like that's going to be a big part of our offense. We have the offensive line and the backs to execute them as well.
What was the wife and kids' reaction to the hair?
I mean, she knew it was coming. My daughter didn't have any reaction. I videotaped it expecting, and she was, didn't notice a difference. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but my wife's definitely not a fan. It's a bet I'm happy to lose. So not happy with the hair, but happy that I lost the bet. So.
What was the bet? What was the genesis?
The bet was that if Zach is still here week 1, I got to dye my hair like Zach. So, again, not happy with the hair, but happy I lost the bet.
So it was with Zach?
It was with Zach, yes, sir, yeah. Yes, Jeff. We won't get into it. Yeah, I lost it, so I got my hair done.
He said he wouldn't be here, and he said he would be? Was that?
I was betting that he was going to get traded, because I firmly thought he was going to get traded. And then,
No, shouldn't you be? No, you're right.
I think he might have known at that point, which is why I'm sitting here with this hair. So
That's hilarious.
a little inside information.
Training camp or in the off season? When
It's in the off season, actually right after he dyed his hair. It was we were here a few weeks before training camp, working out at the facilities. He had just started working back out at the facilities, which probably should have been another sign to me that he probably might have been coming back. But no, really happy that Zach's still here, and we have some really, really good players on our offense, and we saw that in the first game, and now we just got to keep executing, keep staying after it, keep being hungry.
You mentioned veterans of the team. You have a lot of young, skill guys. Is there anything you have to say to them to kind of put last week behind them to refocus, or is it already a mature group?
Well, I mean, regardless of whether it's a young team or an old team, I think that message needs to be said. I mean, whenever you're coming off of a win where you really, win the game in every phase pretty much, you need to communicate that, because there are tons of things to fix up, offensively, defensively, special teams-wise, I'm sure too. The amount of penalties we had, pre-snap procedural things, those things are going to come back and bite us in tight games. So, we all know that we have to work on a ton, and it doesn't matter how good you are at the start of the season, it matters how good you are at the end. And every team's going to keep getting better from here on out, and we got to continue to have that mindset moving forward.
Do you remember the first time that Mulata popped up on your radar? Was it when they drafted him, or did Stout?
The moment I looked at him, yeah.
No,
but you're talking about?
Did Stout tell you anything about him beforehand? Was this
No.
like we get this 300 and something, Australian rugby guy? No.
I did not know about him until he was signed and with the Eagles. And there were all sorts of stories when that happened and everything. I remember first time I ever saw him and just how big he was.
That you heard when they drafted him. You said there were a whole bunch of stories about.
No, just we signed an Australian rugby player that had never played football before. And, whenever you got a guy coming in who's never played football before, that's a big leap of faith, I guess. He doesn't know anything about the game, doesn't know anything about, just the vocabulary. I mean, I think that in some elements you remember a little bit of Danny Watkins in terms of, I know it's not a good comparison, but Danny had only played football for 2 years, and I still remember like generic calls and things that were, any football player that had played before would know, and just how raw he was in that regard. And Jordan was even more so because he had never played. So it's really remarkable how far he's come so quickly. So.
Skeptical because of
Well,
that.
I was
Or you
skeptical.
call it seventh round or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, whenever you got a guy that big who can move that well, it's worth taking, a flyer on him in either a late round or free agent, right? Because that if he can pick up the mental aspects and he can pick up the little technical things, that all the traits are there, and it's hard to find that, type of athleticism, speed, strength, outside of the first round, really. So, I think it was a great decision by the Eagles to go for it, and yeah.
On the other hand,
Jason,
you
I don't know who I'm talking to right now.
Landon Dickerson,
Yeah.
full participant for the first time
Sure.
yesterday. You got a chance, at least an individual, to do a little bit of combo stuff, I think. But what have you seen from him? Does he seem like he's back to what he was? Well, obviously,
Well,
we
yeah, I don't know.
but
Yeah, I mean,
physical.
I wasn't with him pre-injury, but Landon looks great. He's extremely strong, big kid, smart. He's got all the traits, and obviously, hasn't had an entire training camp, so little things are getting caught up on and everything like that. But physically wise, he's very, very impressive, and he's a smart kid. So I would assume he'll pick up on everything very, very quickly. He did really well yesterday in practice, I thought, and no, you're good. And we were ironing things out all day in team drills and everything like that, and that'll continue to happen as he gets more reps.
Trying to make sure I don't lose him in the face-off. You played with quarterbacks who are who can run and guys who are pocket guys. What's the biggest difference you see in the defense in terms of when you have a running quarterback, what it opens up for the rest of the running game, and how the defense plays that?
Well, yeah, it opens up the running game. It opens up, it makes teams leery, and blitz and pass protection. I think it presents a number of problems that a defense has to be ready for, and if they're not, it can lose them the game. So, Obviously, a running quarterback has an ability to get the numbers right in the run game. Typically, single high safety, you're always going to be kind of minus a hat. You're always trying to do motions or shifts or pulls and things like that to get the numbers right. But sometimes a simple quarterback read is, can be devastating, especially if the guy can run like Jalen can. And then in the pass game, just, they got to be really, really disciplined in the rush lanes. You want to try one of these huge overload blitzes. It could be great, or he could scoot out the other side, and it could be a 30-yard scramble. So, it's a dynamic part that, I'm sure is a headache for defenses to have to account for.
Hey, Jason. Teammates with D'Amico Ryans for several years here early in your career. What do you remember about him, and are there any lessons you took from him?
I mean, D'Amico is just the epitome of a leader, team captain, extremely smart guy. Not surprised at all that he's climbed the coaching ranks as quickly as he has. He was a phenomenal player here, really the quarterback of Billy Davis's defenses when he was here with Chip, and phenomenal player, really, really smart, and I'm sure he's going to be great as a defensive coordinator.
You mentioned the job that the coaches did week one.
Yeah.
The performance, like you can tell from the outside, it looked like it was really well coached. But what is the kind of behind the scenes of that that kind of reflects the job that the coaching staff did? Like, what does that mean to you?
I mean, we did a lot of different looks, a lot of different plays. It wasn't like we were running like pretty vanilla things. And I think Nick harped on this all off season with the fundamentals. Harped on connecting, and I think that this whole training camp, we've been getting closer as a unit, closer as a team, and we really, really try and coach up every little detail possible. Not that we didn't do that before. I just think that these coaches in particular across the board have done a phenomenal job of getting guys ready to go and making sure guys are on top of their assignments, know what they're doing, keeping guys accountable, and it was really well done all off season. So it's not surprising that it went well on the game day. I think Frank Reich had a quote that I think is really applicable no matter who the coach is, but no man is suddenly different than his habits and cherished thought. What you do every single day, what you think about every single day, ultimately tends to be what ends up manifesting itself. So, we've been working really, really hard all off season, and we have great players and we have great coaches, and now we just got to keep rolling. We got to keep improving, keep our foot on the pedal, improving, not thinking that we're arrived or anything like that. Which after one game, hopefully nobody's thinking that.